Today we're going to go pompano fishing. Pompano are fun. They pull hard, they eat well, they're a great fish for the average recreational fisherman. As far as harvesting pompano go, there are certain fish that I have no problem harvesting. They propagate like rabbits. There's lots of them. So when we go fishing today, we're going to be using basically something that we can get down to the bottom quickly and just scuff along the bottom. I could use a lot of my different lures for this, but we'll probably primarily be fishing some troughs. And these troughs, I want to get that lure to the bottom and the tide will be moving out hard. So I want it to get down and stay down. Therefore, I'll tend to use something like, this is a hook. This is the shrimp hook. This is my 1/4 ounce shrimp hook. I literally could slide it out. First time I did it, this is what I did. I slid the hook right out of my shrimp. I took one of our pinch weights. This is a 1/4 ounce pinch weight. Chartreuse and orange seem to be the magic colors for these fish. I put that shank right in the pinch weight there. I bend these tabs over. And now I've got a lure. It don't look like much. Oops, let me pinch that on a little bit better. I get constantly asked, folks will say, and then you put a piece of shrimp on that? And I go, no, 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 no. This is it, right here. You tie this on, you throw it out there. It's going to sink very quickly because obviously there's very little resistance. It's all lead. So it's going to drop to the bottom and it's going to hold on the bottom very well. That's where my pompano are going down there, looking along the bottom. This drifts and sweeps across the tide and it's right in their face. This is a sustain, little Shimano sustain. It's a 4000. I like the 4000 because I like the larger spool. A smaller spool kind of the line has to come off faster, therefore I don't get as good a casting distance. The larger spool lets me get some great casting distance. This is a really nice Loomis rod, very sensitive tip. I really like when they came out with braided line. I suddenly came to realize I could use a much lighter tip, which lets me load up the lure, lets me cast it further, but with braid and no stretch. When I feel the fish strike, it is a very distinct strike. There's no doubt that the fish ate. It gives me a chance to set the hook very easily because when I jerk it, that lure responds directly to my jerk, whereas opposed to mono, there's so much give that you have to almost over-accentuate everything. With the braid, you jerk it, it moves. You feel the fish strike, you stick them, you stick them. It's good and effective. Typically, I'm going to use somewhere around a 20 to 30 pound leader. Since I do have bluefish in the area, I'm always going to respect, and this is easily 30 pound leader. A lot of folks will say, oh, you need a super light leader for a pompano. Not true at all. A good fluorocarbon is going to do the job. I personally have used Seagar for years. It works. It ain't broke. I don't need to fix it. All leaders, typically when I start my day, I'm going to be fishing around a 3-foot leader. I don't want to crank that leader knot into my guides. If somebody does that and I hear it on my boat and it's my rod, I will cut that leader where it's this long so they will not crank that knot into the guides. When you hear that, you're going to destroy your guides and you're going to also weaken your knot by slamming it against that ceramic guide. So it's a win-win thing to keep that knot out of the guides. As far as length goes though, if I'm out there fishing and those fish are cooperating and they're eating real well, I may retie and retie and retie and only end up with this much leader. But if they're still eating, I don't care because they're still eating. If they quit eating, then I'm going to go ahead and retie, build myself a new longer leader and start from there. I typically tie a triple surgeons. My line to leader knot, it is easy, it is simple, it is fast. And typically I'm going to tie a loop knot on here. This one isn't, or it probably was and slipped down, but I will tie a loop knot, which is basically the knot that I tie is basically a bowline knot. It's you go through the eye of the hook. If you want to see something really cool, folks, I can put the tip of the leader between my thumb and forefinger. I can look at a camera. I can feel that go through the eye by setting the groove of that eye of that hook in the groove of my fingers. And with the tip of the leader down there, I just rotate it up and it goes right through the eye of the hook. I go through the eye, I do a backwards loop, a second backwards loop, second one through the front of the first one, and tag in through the front of that second loop. I hold the tag in stationary and just lift up on my leader. It's a fixed loop knot. Tag in points rearward, doesn't tend to grab grass. There's a good chance today with this wind that it's going to start turning up a lot of what I call snot grass. It's kind of an algae that starts to lay on the surface of the grass this time of year. When the tide starts moving, it'll start rolling. Every advantage I can have to keep that grass from hanging on my lure, I'm going to take advantage of every chance I can to do so. And that loop knot makes that very easy.